It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Well, hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary hosted by me, Spencer. This is episode F89, and I have skipped the previous episode because I am recording with a guest in just a few days, and I assume that we had just the best conversation about film that ever... scholars will be discussing this conversation about film for years and years and years to come. Maybe 3 years. But we're not going to talk about that in this episode. Other than a couple of film words, we're going to talk about these words here today. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, go write a review, please, and thank you. Share this show, audio podcast, YouTube, comment on the YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, do all those things so the algorithms can do their things. Email me, dictionarypod at social... What? Wow, my brain was like 3 steps ahead. Email me, dictionarypod at gmail.com if you want to tell me something. Something that you can tell me is a joke. If you have a joke through the rest of the alphabet, go ahead and email it to me and I will read your joke when I get there, and I hope I haven't forgotten any. I've only gotten a few. Social media is at dictionarypod. I post a few pictures here and there. My personal is at Speejampar, Spejampar. The Google Voice number is 917-727-5757. You can leave a message for me to put in a show or not. Whatever you like is fine with me. There's a link to a merchandise. There's links to the theme songs made by Jonah and Tom. 2 separate ones. They don't know each other. They are strangers. Here we go with the first word in this episode, which is filmography. No, wait, I think, is that where I'm ending it? Sure, why not? Filmography. Filmography. Noun from 1957. A list of motion pictures featuring the work of a prominent film figure or relating to a particular topic. Oh, what are all the filmographies of horror movies that take place at Christmas? You could find a whole list of those. There's a bunch I just posted this morning about how we rewatched the 2019 Black Christmas, which is, I've talked about that before, but the original one from the 70s is the first and best. Let's see. So yeah, usually we're talking about a director, an actor, a cinematographer, a best boy, a makeup person. What's their filmography? What are all of the films that they worked on? My filmography is very tiny, but I hope that it will grow as I grow as a person. Let's see. We know where this is from. It's from the word film plus ography, like bibliography. A whole list of things. Musicians have a discography. Disc is a little bit weird there. They're not always discs that their albums are on. Usually it's CDs and vinyl. But there's other forms, and now it's all just digital. Albumography, do we say that? Musicography? No, we don't say anything. We just say discography. Okay, anything else? Other than I just want to have a wonderful filmography by the time I die. Not much yet, but it's happening. I feel it's happening. I know it's happening because I'm literally working on a film. Okay, my sound effect today is going to be... The next word is film setting. 1 word. Noun from 1954. The synonym is photo composition. And film setter. Film setter is a noun. Well, we don't have a lot of information here unless you know literally what photo composition is. I can take a guess at photo composition. The composition of a photo. How do you set it up? What's your frame? What's in the frame? Where are things in the frame? What's in the foreground? What's in the background? the lighting, all those things, the colors. So film setting, is that the same thing? I mean, it sure seems similar. What's the setting of the film? Are you using film as a photo or film as a movie? Or just the general term film? We're just talking about a movie shot on whatever format. The setting, what's in there? What's in the thing? That's when the director's like, I think this is the shot that I'm looking for right there. I really like that one. It's just my eyeballs. Okay, film setting. Can't wait to get to photo composition and see it's probably something totally different. Probably. Film strip. One word, noun from 1930. A strip of film bearing a sequence of images for projection as still pictures. This is not the film where you're running it at 24 or 30 frames or 25 frames per second. It's a strip of film, and you just show this one first. And then you go to the next picture, and then you show this one for a little while, and you talk about it. I remember these from when I was in elementary school. In the library, we would sit, and they would play a film strip. They would show an image on this strip of film for a little bit, and then there was either somebody talking, or there was audio playing, maybe from a book or some story, and maybe there was some music and sound effects, and then we got to look at the beautiful picture from the film strip, and then it would click over to the next one, and then there would be a new scene in the image, and that was a film strip. And I don't think these are probably getting used anymore. We are so far beyond film strips. Now, I didn't realize that's also the sound kind of a projector, but I was just having fun with another word that's coming later, which doesn't really work with my sound effect, but it's close enough. It's just a sound to make. Now, we have the word filmy. Filmy. If you leave your milk out too long, it might get filmy. Gross. Adjective from 1584. Number 1, of resembling or composed of film. As in, let's see, we have a synonym first. It's gauzy. Gauzy. Filmy. Sort of see-through-y. Sort of, it's got a funny texture maybe. The synonym, I'm mixing everything up today. I think my brain is breaking. The example is filmy draperies. So the draperies, the curtains by your window, maybe they're sort of filmy, maybe because they let a little bit of light in, or I don't know, they're filmy. Maybe you poured milk on them and they got the milk film on them. That's weird drapes. Number 2, covered with a haze or film. Covered with a haze or film. A film of what? Just anything that's like kind of gauzy. Filmily, that is an adverb. Can you do something filmily? Something gauzily? That's a weird one. Filminess is a noun. That film has filminess because they shot through a film to get the beautiful film setting. I don't know if that's an accurate phrase. Okay, no, all done with the film words. Now we have, would be pronounced philo? Maybe. Philo, or 2 L's. It's a variation of philo spelled Phylo. Maybe it's philo, but I think it's philo. Now we have the prefix philo, Filo, but it says see Philly, Fili, which was just a few episodes ago, and that was about threads. Yes, it was. Now, maybe this next word is about threads. It's filovirus. Philo, that's the proper way to say it. Filovirus is a noun from 1989. It is any of a family of single-stranded, chiefly filamentous RNA viruses that infect vertebrates and include the Marburg virus and the Ebola viruses. Oh, I don't like the sound of those. I've never heard of the Marburg virus, but if it's related to Ebola, then it's probably bad. The family name is Filoviridae. Very clever names. So they're just these viruses that are just very long and skinny, and so they're like threads. They're filamentous. From thread, not Fred. And that's it for that one. Now, we gotta go. We have the first form of the word fees. It is pronounced fees, but it is spelled F-I-L-S. So it looks like fills, but it's fees. Noun from 1786. The synonym is son, which is reminding me of, filial. Yes, filial was about children, basically. So fees is son. But this is used after a family name to distinguish a son from his father. And it doesn't give an example of when this is used. So fees, what's an example of let's look up an example of a last name. Let's see, example of last name with fills, but it's pronounced fees. Let's see, let's find a good one. Fees, surname meaning French and Haitian, relationship name from French fils, which is son, used to identify the younger of two bears of the same name in a family. This surname was brought to the U.S. mainly from Haiti, where it is most common. Well, that's probably why I am not familiar with it. So I always find it so interesting when last names are changed between generations. It seems like a cultural thing to do. It seems like an older thing to do. So it's like you have a different last name from your parent, and often, a lot of times they add son or daughter to them, like Erickson. Is it son of Eric, I think? So was their dad's name Henrikson? It's like, it's so interesting to have a different last name, and then other cultures in the world have the same last name or the same family name for generations upon generations upon generations. It's a whole dynasty. All right, so it's very interesting. I've never heard of this fees. I will try to pay more attention to it. Let's see, anything else? It's clearly French, from the Latin filius, and there's more at the word feminine, which I think we saw in the filial one. Yes, we did. Okay, we saw that there. But now we got to move on to the second form of the same word, except this time it's pronounced fills. So it must be very unrelated to the first form. Noun from 1931. It says to see a few different words at the money table. So those words are dinar, dirham, and rial or rial, probably rial. So these are all just different forms of money. We'll get to learn more about that later. But I can tell you this comes from Arabic, or it is an Arabic word, so it must be that part of the world does use or used to use this type of money. 1931, that was almost 100 years ago, so there's a good chance they're not using that anymore. I wonder if anybody's done a study of how many types of monies around the world are still in use, are the oldest ones. Like the dollar has been used for, I don't know, probably since America was created, 250-ish years ago. I think we've been using the dollar for about that long. But, like in Europe, they all changed to the euro a number of years ago, so their old money is gone. It's not being used anymore. But yeah, there must be some other older types of money. What's next? Oh, we got a big one. It's the word filter. This is the first form, noun from 1563. 1A, a porous article or mass. Through which a gas or liquid is passed to separate out matter in suspension. And examples of this mass would be paper or sand. So it's a thing that is porous, that has holes in it, has spaces in it for liquid to flow through or other things, through which a gas or liquid is passed to separate matter in suspension. Your sieve, if you have that like half circle metal thing that you want to rinse something in, rinse beans in, or pour your pasta in to get rid of the water, right? The liquid's going to flow right through, but the holes are so tiny that the pasta's not going to go through there. I was just thinking about this type of thing, a filter, because I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about Jimmy Carter, who just passed away, and how he, for decades, was working on getting rid of the guinea worm, and the big thing to do to get rid of the guinea worm, at least to not get infected by it, is to drink clean water, not the dirty water where the larvae are living. And so people around the world don't have access to clean water, which is ridiculous because they should. And so people have been inventing these straws and other things that you can literally drink from the dirty water, and it will clean, it will filter out all the bad stuff, and you got like really good clean water. And I was thinking about like what is going on inside of those straws? There must be some first big filter that is going to just stop like rocks and sand and anything, of a decent size, probably bigger than like a millimeter. Maybe these larvae, they could probably fit through that filter, but then there must be other filters that they can't pass through. I have no idea what the logistics are of these straws, but I think that they're fantastic, and they're, I think, pretty cheap to make, and they should be sent all over the world, and people like Musk and Bezos can afford to provide these for just every human on the planet. Okay, that was the first definition for filter. Now we have 1B, an apparatus containing a filter medium. So the thing that has the filter is also the filter. The filter has the filter. The filter has the filter. Number 2A, a device or material for suppressing or minimizing waves or oscillations of certain frequencies, as of electricity, light, or sound. Oh, this is an electronic device probably that can filter out certain types of these waves, these frequencies specifically. I know like in audio, there are programs that you can like filter out the high frequencies so you have more of a low sound, or you can filter out the low frequencies to have more of the high sounds. Like if you want something to sound like somebody's talking on the telephone, you filter out the low frequencies and then you're left with the high ones. And oh my God, it sounds like you're on a phone. Light, filtering light frequencies. Would that be like maybe a filter that you put on your lens, like an infrared kind of thing where you see the infrared, but you don't see the other ones? Lots of different types of those because there's so many light frequencies. Electricity. I don't know how to filter electricity. Nope, I don't. Number 2B. A transparent material, as colored glass, that absorbs light or certain wavelengths or colors selectively, and is used for modifying light that reaches a sensitized photographic material. And that was a very long definition that I was not prepared for. It is called also color filter. So let's do another quick check of this. It's a transparent material. So you put like, for instance, when we do our lights for photos or video, if you want to make everything look green, you put a filter in front of it. Well, I don't. We have filters in the studio. I don't have them up here because I could just put one in front of that or that. These lights I can change the colors, but it's not the filter. It's something else. So it's a transparent material like colored glass that absorbs light of certain wavelengths or colors selectively and is used for modifying light that reaches. Yep, that's all it is. You put up a green filter in front of the light and it's going to make everything green. Or I guess, are there other types that will like stop certain colors from going through? I don't even know if that's possible. Okay, number 3. Something that has the effect of a filter, as by holding back elements or modifying the appearance of something. And the example is, his work is too often viewed through the filter of race. And that is a quote from Brent Staples. His work is too often viewed? Are you saying that his race, that is the lens that he views the world through? Let's, for example, say that he is a black man living in the American South. His lens is going, his race, his skin color is going to be greatly determining how he views the world, how the world affects him, how he is affected by everything. I don't think that you can say that his work is too often viewed. If that is your lens, if that is how you see the world and how you are affected by the world, that's how he's gonna live his life and do his work, because that is what he wants to talk about. Okay, I don't know what Brent was talking about. I'm just making stuff up, but I don't know. I'm making assumptions on this very specific quote. Yeah, this one is, what is your filter? How do you see the world? That's a much more metaphorical way to use this filter. Okay, number 4, software for sorting or blocking access to certain online material. You got to put that filter on so you don't see those websites, which was also always very weird. Like, even when I was in high school, we had the internet, the early version of the internet, and there were, in the library or whatever, there were filters put on to say that you couldn't search for all the websites that had the word breast would get blocked. But what if you're looking up breast cancer? That doesn't seem to work very well. Filters, they don't always work great. All right, let's look at the etymology. This is from Middle Latin filtrum, which means piece of felt used as a filter. Very specific. So it's felt and filter. Felt is like that porous material that certain things will go through and certain things will not go through. So felt can be used as the filter. Now I want a felt puppet that's a filter. I don't know what exactly that means, but something. What else? Of Germanic origin, akin to the Old High German fils, which means felt. So literally filter, the word filter came from felt, I guess? There's more at the word felt. Interesting. That's the sound of stuff being filtered out. Now we have the second form of filter, which is a verb from 1576, starting with transitive. Number 1, to subject to the action of a filter. I'm just going to filter you out. You don't need to be here. Let's filter you out. Why are we filtering out people? No, I don't like that idea. Number 2, to remove by means of a filter. Now we have intransitive. Number 1, to pass or move through or as if through a filter. To pass. So I would have thought that when you're filtering out something, it is not passing through the filter. The filter stops it. To pass or move through or as if through a filter. So this specific definition is saying that sometimes things that go through the filter are being filtered. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Number 2, to come or go in small units over a period of time, as in people began filtering in. You got an open house for your new place. You just moved into a new place, so you're having an open house. People can come and go as they please. They can start coming at 2 a.m. and they can stop coming at midnight. That's a very long time to have an open house. I don't know why you're having an open house for like 20 hours, 22 hours, but whatever you want to do is fine. So they just filter in, come in little bits at a time. That's what this podcast is. People just sort of filter in and out as they please. Glad to have you. Okay, now we got to go. Filterable. Oh, and you can also spell it filterable. You're getting rid of the E, so it's not filterable, it's filterable. This is an adjective from 1908. Capable of being filtered or of passing through a filter. Filterability is a noun. That's it for filterable. Now we have something else that's filterable. Filterable virus. Noun from 1911. Oh, it's a long definition. Any of the infectious agents that pass through a filter of diatomite or unglazed porcelain with the filtrate and remain virulent, and that include the viruses as presently understood and various other groups, which were originally considered viruses before their cellular nature was established. And examples of these other groups would be the mycoplasmas and rickettsias. I have no clue what those are. Infection agents that pass through a filter of data. So interesting. Again, we're seeing filterable. It's filterable. They pass through the filter, it says. But I would have said it the other way around. If it's filterable, if you filter things out, can you filter things in? Oh, this word is hurting my brain. That pass through a filter of these types of things and the filtrate and remain virulent, and that include. So I think it's saying that the filterable viruses are the ones that pass through certain filters and remain unchanged. There's no change to these viruses. Were originally considered viruses before their cellular nature was established. So they're learning. They've been learning about these things. Are they still considered the filterable viruses? I don't know. Filter bed, 2 words. Noun from circa 1874. A sand or gravel bed for filtering water or sewage. Oh, this is not the type of bed that you sleep on. I really hope that you're not sleeping on this bed. You pour some sewage on the bed, don't go to sleep on top of it. Yeah, I don't know why or how they're using this, but I guess if you want to maybe let the liquid go through the sand or the gravel, but you want the physical things to stay on top so you can get rid of them, you got to pour them on a filter bed, I guess. Not going to sleep in that filter bed. You can't make me. Filter feeder, 2 words, noun from 1928. An animal, as a clam or baleen whale, that obtains its food by filtering organic matter or minute organisms from a current of water that passes through some part of its system. That part depends on the type of animal that it is. The baleen whale, I think, has those like big, they're not even teeth. They're a filter. I think they literally have a filter in their mouth. And so when the water comes through, the things that they want to eat stay on one side of the filter, and the water just goes right through and goes through their gills, and then they eat the stuff. I don't really know how that works. But also, the clam, that's a whole different type of animal. And so the water and things go through some part of their system, and then the filter holds on to the stuff that they want to eat, I think. And that's how they eat. That's how the filter feeders eat. Yeah, yeah. Okay, we got one more. Here we go. Let's do it. We got filter paper, 2 words, noun from circa 1846. Porous, unsized paper used especially for filtering. I don't know what you're filtering. Maybe you're filtering, maybe you're making coffee, and you put that cone on the thing, and then you put your coffee in the thing, and you pour the water on the thing, and then the coffee grounds stay there, but the water and the coffee water now goes through. And maybe that's filter paper. You can use it for other stuff too, I bet. Okay, let's pick a word of the episode. Today we had filmography, film setting, film strip, filmy, filovirus, fees, fills, filter, filterable virus, filter bed, filter feeder, and filter paper. That's it. Well, I think I'm going to pick filmography as the word of the episode, because I want to have a really cool filmography. These songs, I think, are getting worse. Filmographies. I'm going to have a very cool filmography. I want to make lots of movies and stuff. But all my time is being spent doing a dictionary podcast, so I don't have time to make movies. Yeah, it's only temporary. It's only part of my time. Instead, we're going to talk about a different filmography, which is a list of movies that I watched, didn't make them, and I would like to tell you about a couple more. We watched Dead Calm. This is from 1989. I had never seen this before. It's a very nerve-wracking movie. It's sort of suspensey, thrillery, horror-y, and it's about people on a boat. That's what it's about. That's all I'm going to say. And then we watched the new Lord of the Rings animated movie, War for the Rohirrim, I think is the full title. And this takes place well before the actions of the Lord of the Rings. Those movies, those stories. I'm trying to remember. The animation, it's very good animation, but it's very like simple and kind of old school, hand drawn, frame by frame. But the backgrounds and like the things that they're interacting with are all like very photorealistic. And while it looks very cool, to me there was a little bit of a disconnect between like the backgrounds and the people because the styles were so different. But the animation is beautiful. I mean, you can't. They do some very good. I think it was a Japanese company that made it, and they do some awesome animation. So yeah, and especially if you like Lord of the Rings stuff, then you might like this. And it's about the naming. It's sort of about the naming of something in the movie The Two Towers. That's all I'm gonna say. And those are all the movies that I'm going to tell you about right now, and I am done with this episode. I have finished it. Let's get rid of it. Let's move on to the next one. Until next time, this is Spencer, dispensing information. Goodbye. Bad boys, bad boys.